Hello, everybody. I'm Matthew Heines. I am a political candidate in Washington State, and I'm here to talk about what is happening with this election and that the Democrats are trying to steal this election. Now, being in Washington State, I just want to quote my own brother who said, "Why would you even run for election in this state? It is all rigged." And I laughed. I said, no, you should run. Well, as we see right now, and thank you to Donald Trump for exposing this fraud. There is fraud with these election machines all over the country, especially in Washington State. Now, every election, the Democrats win in Washington State. There are a couple of things that we need to talk about, but right now I'm telling you as a candidate I will be running again, or I'm actually running now for the 2022 election for the United States House of Representatives in District 1. So what I want to talk to you about now is how we're going to win this state. First of all, we have to get rid of mail-in ballots. Obviously, we see that the post office, what country ever decided their fate or let their fate be decided in the hands of the letter carriers? That's absolutely ridiculous. Number one, we have to get rid of the mail-in ballots. Number two, we have got to get rid of the Republican Party leadership. Last election, I was so embarrassed to be a Republican that I ran as an independent. Well, I'm not. I want to run as a Republican, and I want to run as a Republican because I want to support President Trump. So I'm announcing right now that I am going back to the Republican Party, and I hope that we can really talk seriously about replacing the loser leadership of the Republican Party in Washington State that picks the worst candidates for each election, loses, and then just kind of laughs about it. I really think that the Republican Party in Washington State is just an extension of the Democratic Party, and I think they're probably funded by the same people. So right now I'm announcing that I am back in the Republican Party. I am here to support you, President Trump, and I'm going to fight for you any way that I can. Now, if you want to support me, of course you can support me by following me on this channel. You can support me by liking these videos, or if you'll just watch for a second, I'll show you another way that you can support me in Washington State. Do you wish everything was free? Do you wish you didn't have any bills to pay? Well, here at Deceptions of the Ages News, we wish that all the time. Unfortunately, it's just not true. But what is true is we have some fantastic books, and they're for sale at hindsight.com, especially Deceptions of the Ages, Mormons, Freemasons, and Extraterrestrials. It's available wherever you buy books, or go to hindsight.com and get an autographed edition. Now, let's go back to our program. Hi, welcome back. So that's how you can support me in one way in Washington State, is to educate yourself, enjoy yourself while you're doing it, and really take care. Now, the last thing that I want to say as a political candidate is that there is nothing you can do right now that is more important than a nationwide boycott of Google, of Twitter, of Facebook. Now, I know you're all addicted to it, and I know that's going to be very difficult, but you got to make a choice. Now, for me, and I know it's hard to you can't just give it up because that's people's businesses, right? In my last elections, I've always called for alternative media. I'm still calling for that the government should fund alternatives to these people, but now all these people do is complain about it. They bring them into Congress, and then they take money from them, and we have the same problem. And they're manipulating our elections. But I want you to remember one thing. Every time you go on Facebook, every time you go on Twitter, every time you go on YouTube or Google and use them and give them money, you are giving money to China. You're giving money to the Chinese Communist government. You are giving money to the people who hate you and want to destroy your freedom. You are supporting the mainstream media every time you watch any of it. So I know you can't give it up completely. We've got to come up with alternatives, and we've got to do it quickly. But for right now, you got to show self-discipline. if you are on these media and if you're on them for anything other than promoting your own business, if you're spending any time on that, you're supporting them and you're putting them and crooks like Joe Biden in the driver's seat. Well, that's your choice. You do what you want. It's a free country, but just be prepared to live with your results. If you want to support me, voteforheines.com is my website and also my YouTube channel. All right then, well, here's another way you can support me. Have you ever dreamed of being consumed in a river of lava or being squashed flat in a scalding pyroclastic flow? The fact is, you probably haven't, but you might when you find out what happens when selling real estate mixes with a secret weapons project called Snowden. Is it fact or is it fiction? The Rainier Paradigm is available at hindsight.com and anywhere fine books are sold. The links are in the description. Now, back to our show. All right, well, I appreciate your time. I appreciate you listening to this short video, and I have to encourage you, stick together, pray, and support the president, because you're not only supporting the freedom of the United States, you're supporting the freedom of the world, and everybody's watching, and we're just not going to let this happen. So, this is Matthew Heines. I'm running for Congress in Washington State's 1st Congressional District, and hopefully we'll see you next time.